Have you ever wondered how a group of ex-slaves managed to conquer a land flowing with milk and honey? This is the story of the Israelites, a people chosen by God on the brink of a historic journey. They are encamped just east of the Jordan River, peering across at their promised land, the land of Canaan. Their first challenge is Jericho. This is no ordinary city. Its walls are high, its fortifications thick, seemingly impenetrable. But these physical barriers aren't the only things standing in the way of the Israelites. Fear has swept through the city. The citizens of Jericho are not oblivious to what has transpired. They've heard tales of the God of Israel, of how he has delivered his people time and again. The reputation of God's deliverance has preceded the Israelites' arrival, causing hearts to melt in fear. Yet this fear, this mental assent, or a type of belief in God was not enough. It's fascinating to note that this faith alone was classified by the scriptures in Hebrews as unbelief. Faith, it seems, requires more than just belief. It requires action. Enter Joshua, the leader of the Israelites. Chosen by God to lead his people, Joshua is tasked with the monumental responsibility of guiding the Israelites into their promised land. It's a role that requires courage, wisdom, and above all, faith. For the journey ahead is fraught with challenges, some physical, like the walls of Jericho, others spiritual, like the test of faith and obedience. So begins the journey of the Israelites, a journey that would see them conquer cities, cross rivers, and battle armies. But it's more than just a physical journey. It's a spiritual journey, a journey of faith and obedience. A journey that will see them transform from a group of ex-slaves to a nation chosen by God. The Israelites, led by Joshua, were about to embark on a journey that would test their faith and obedience. Join us as we delve into this incredible journey, as we explore the lessons it has for us today, and as we discover the amazing ways in which God works in the lives of his people. In the midst of fear and uncertainty, one woman's faith shone brightly. Meet Rahab, a harlot by profession, yet her faith was nothing short of extraordinary. Amid the looming threat of invasion, she courageously hid 2 Israelite spies from the king of Jericho. Her actions were not born out of mere impulse but of a deep-seated belief in the power of the God of Israel. Consider this: Rahab lived in a city whose heart had melted in fear, yet she chose to act, to protect, to believe. This wasn't a simple mental assent or a type of belief in God that most citizens had, which the scriptures in Hebrews 11:31 classify as unbelief. This was an active faith, a faith that drove her to risk her life for what she believed in. Her reward? Preservation. The spies she saved instructed her to tie a scarlet cord to her window. This cord was more than a symbol of her faith. It was a promise of her salvation. When the time came and the Israelites stormed the city, Rahab and her family were spared. She had acted on her faith and was rewarded for it. But Rahab's story doesn't end there. In fact, it takes a rather interesting turn. The harlot of Jericho, the woman who risked it all, became a Jewish proselyte. Even more fascinating, she found her place in the lineage of Jesus, a testament to the transformative power of faith and God's ability to use anyone, regardless of their past, to fulfill his divine purposes. Her story is a powerful reminder that faith is not passive. It's not enough to simply believe. Faith requires action. It requires obedience. It requires courage. Rahab's life is a testament to this truth. She dared to believe. She dared to act. And in doing so, she not only saved her life, but also became a part of a grander narrative. Rahab's story is a testament to the power of active faith and obedience. It's a story that reminds us that no matter who we are or where we come from, we all have a role to play in God's grand design. The path to the promised land was not without its miracles. As the Israelites stood on the brink of their destiny, the Jordan River lay before them, a natural barrier separating them from their future. But this was a people accustomed to divine intervention, and they were about to witness another marvel. The priests, bearing the sacred Ark of the Covenant, led the way. As their feet touched the water's edge, something extraordinary occurred. The waters of the Jordan parted, much like the Red Sea had for their ancestors. This miraculous event affirmed once again that they were under divine guidance and protection. The Israelites crossed the riverbed, not through mud and silt, but on dry ground, a clear path laid out before them. Once across, another significant event transpired. It was here, in their promised land, that they tasted the fruits of the land for the first time. The manna that had sustained them throughout their desert wanderings ceased, and they feasted on the produce of Canaan. It was a tangible sign of their arrival, a celebration of the promises fulfilled and a taste of the abundance that lay before them. Yet, their journey was not merely about reaching a physical destination. It was also a spiritual pilgrimage, a journey of faith and obedience. As they settled into their new home, the men of Israel underwent circumcision, a physical act symbolizing their covenant with God. This ritual, neglected during their desert sojourn, was now restored, marking a renewal of their commitment to the divine covenant. The crossing of the Jordan was more than a geographical transition. It was a transformative moment, a step from their past into a future ordained by God. The parting of the waters, the taste of the land's produce, the renewed commitment to their covenant, each of these elements marked a significant milestone in their journey. The crossing of the Jordan was not just a physical journey, but a spiritual step into their destiny. The impenetrable walls of Jericho were no match for the power of obedience and faith. As the Israelites stood at the foot of the towering city, the Lord presented Joshua with an extraordinary battle plan. It was not a plan filled with military tactics or strategies, but rather, it was a test of faith. For 6 days, the Israelites were to march around the city once, the Ark of the Covenant leading the way, the priests blowing their trumpets of ram's horn, but no battle cry was to be made. Then, on the 7th day, they were to march around the city 7 times. At the end of the 7th round, the priests would give a mighty blast on their trumpets, and all the people would shout, and so they did. Despite the unconventional nature of this plan, the Israelites obeyed. They trusted in their God and in the leadership of Joshua. The result? At the sound of the trumpet blast and the collective shout of the Israelite army, the formidable walls of Jericho crumbled to the ground. The city was taken, its inhabitants overpowered. Yet, amidst the destruction, a single house stood untouched, the house of Rahab. Remember the scarlet cord, the sign of her active faith. Rahab and her family were spared, just as the spies had promised. This harlot, who chose to act on her belief in the God of Israel, was granted mercy. But the Lord had one more command for the Israelites. As they took the city, they were instructed to take no booty. All the silver and gold and vessels of brass and iron were to be consecrated unto the Lord, to be put into his treasury. This was a clear instruction, a divine mandate that obedience to God's command was to be complete and without compromise. The fall of Jericho was a testament to the power of obedience, even in the face of seemingly impossible odds. This victory was not achieved by human strength or strategy, but by faith in and obedience to the Lord. It was a clear message that with God, no obstacle is insurmountable. Sometimes the smallest of errors can lead to the greatest of losses. So it was with the Israelites after their victory at Jericho. Flushed with triumph, they moved on to the city of Ai, confident of a swift victory. But defeat was their portion, leaving them baffled and dismayed. The cause of this unexpected downturn was a transgression against God's command. Achan, one of the Israelites, had taken forbidden booty from Jericho. His disobedience, his sin in the camp, had led to their defeat. But this setback served as a wake-up call. The Israelites rectified the situation, dealing with Achan's transgression as God directed. With this issue resolved, they were ready to face Ai again, and this time victory was theirs. This experience left a lasting imprint on the Israelites. It was a stark reminder that obedience to God's commands is not optional, but essential for success. Having learned this valuable lesson, the Israelites moved on, facing and defeating the combined forces of the southern and northern kings. Their journey was not without challenges, but with each victory, they grew stronger, more united, and more confident in the faithfulness of their God. Then came the time to distribute the conquered lands among the tribes of Israel. Each tribe received its portion, a tangible reminder of God's promise to their forefather Abraham, a promise of a land for his descendants. The fulfillment of this promise was a testament to God's faithfulness. Despite the odds, despite the years, despite the wandering in the wilderness, God had kept his word. But this was not the end of the story. It was merely a chapter in the grand narrative of God's dealings with his people. A more significant promise was yet to be fulfilled, the promise that all nations would be blessed through Abraham's descendants. The journey of the Israelites is a testament to God's faithfulness in fulfilling his promises and a stark reminder of the consequences of disobedience. The facts in this video can be checked as truthful in the book of Joshua, as it is intended to speak only on the oracles of God. Perhaps to that end, you wish to learn more by receiving the free Bible correspondence course entitled Faith That Overcomes. Just leave an address below.